retrofan.com.
The Toshiba Libretto, a fully functional Windows PC released in 1996, and it fits in a jacket pocket. Not a toy, not a concept or a prototype, but a real computer with a real keyboard, a real trackpoint, and a real operating system, all squeezed into something the size of a VHS cassette tape. This is the smallest Windows machine that actually worked. The Libretto was Toshiba's answer to a question that nobody else was brave enough to ask out loud at the time in the mid-90s. How small can a real PC actually get? Not a PDA, not a handheld organized running some proprietary OS, but a proper IBM-compatible personal computer running the same software you would run on a desktop tower, just compressed, miniaturized, refined, just like the Japanese technology from that era. This is the CT50 version, same size, just updated hardware inside from 1997. Runs a Pentium 75 MHz processor, 16 MB of RAM, and a 6.1-inch screen with a keyboard so small that typing on it is somewhere between a skill and a meditation practice. Looks like a curiosity, but in practice it's one of the most precisely engineered pieces of consumer electronics from that decade. Every millimeter was a decision. The Libretto launched in Japan in 1995, where the appetite for miniaturized, refined technology was, and still is, unlike anywhere else in the world. There's a Japanese concept, kodawari, an obsessive attention to detail, a refusal to compromise on craft. The Libretto is exactly that, applied to engineering. It's not the most powerful machine, it's not the most practical, but the intention behind it is immaculate. When it arrived in Western markets, it found an audience of business travelers, early adopters, and people who simply loved objects made with these kinds of conviction.
あの小さいのはパソコンか？
軽いね。だろ？
新しいリブレット。
ペンティアム搭載よ。
ペンティアム？マジかよ。
メモリーは16メガバイト。16メガ。
信じらんない。
世界最小の Windows 95& ペンティアム、東芝リブレット50。
はい。
When I bought it, together with the Libretto, two batteries came. One is the normal version and an expanded version, a bigger battery. I miss the time when you could actually change the battery of your laptop for extended time. It also came with this base that you attach, and it expands the ports at the back, including a serial, a printer, and a VGA port as well for external monitors. It's incredible, but in the Libretto they even managed to include a PC card slot port. And I have the external floppy, but you can even attach with an adapter CF cards for quick exchange of files. In these ports you could also attach external modems and many other accessories. I bought this years ago, and one of the weak points of these old laptops is always the hard disk. Here's the thing about a machine this old: the original hard drive is almost certainly dying, if it isn't already dead. And the Libretto CT50 uses a 2.5-inch IDE hard drive, a spinning disk obviously, small at the time. You can hear it, sometimes a faint clicking, the classical mechanical sound that takes too long to settle. Or just it doesn't spin at all anymore. But there's a common solution in retro computing community, and it's one I find generally satisfying and a lifesaver. The hard drive of this machine was failing. The last time I tried to boot, it took several minutes to finally launch the OS. So I decided to open it up and change the hard drive with a modern solution. To open the Libretto, it's not too complicated. There are a few screws. The last screw is behind the warranty sticker that wasn't touched for 30 years, this one. And I used some tools that I used to open an iPod to get the bottom of the libretto to detach. The plastic unfortunately is very dry and it broke in a couple of points. That's the other issue with such an old plastic. The plastic becomes very dry and fragile. Fortunately, not the whole chassis of the libretto is made of plastic, but there are some magnesium part as well. Actually, you can access to the hard drive very easily from a slide, and you could swap the hard drive for a new one without even opening the machine, but I wanted something more modern and fast. I wanted a card adapter with a CompactFlash memory. The adapter and the memories are very easy to find today, and it's much more effective, much faster and future-proof. The installation is very easy, and if you have an old laptop or libretto, I recommend you to change the hard drive with this kind of solution. I didn't want to create an image of the old hard drive, even if probably it would be the best solution, but I decided to install Windows 95 from scratch, and with the help of Google and some DOS commands to properly format the CompactFlash, I finally managed to nail the configuration. The libretto could recognize the CompactFlash and install Windows 95 from scratch. It took a while, but finally I got Windows 95 booting from the CompactFlash, and then the driver experience started. The libretto has some particular drivers for Windows 95 that fortunately are still accessible on the Internet Archive or other older websites still out there, and I could download the drivers and install most of them. There are still a few things that don't work, like the function keys, but I got most of the things working again.
いらっしゃいませ。
ホットね。
あ、モバイル。でもリブレットじゃない。
MMX ペンティアムなのにね。新型キーボードで打ちやすいのにね。TFT 液晶で見やすいし。信じらんね。
ミニノートといえばリブレット70新登場。
買いに行こう。
東芝から。
So now that it's running, what should we do with a machine like this? Well, testing some games. I have a few DOS games and Windows games on floppy disks that I can try. I wanted to try some games and show you some games from that period, but also that have something in common in terms of adventure. 3 different takes. So one is DuckTales, The Quest for Gold, 1990. Back in the day I was a huge fan of the original DuckTales, and a few years ago I saw also the reboot with the new style, and I must say the stories were quite interesting, so I recommend that too if you have, especially if you have young kids, to watch together. So this is not the NES platform game, it's something stranger but also more ambitious and actually much closer to the animation series. Developed by Incredible Technologies and published by Disney. It has both a 5.25 inch floppy disk, the big one. They were replaced by the 3.5 inch hard cased discs. And this copy has both, something that I like. Anyway, back to the game. This is a turn-based treasure hunting adventure set across the globe, with Scrooge McDuck racing against flint-hard Glomgold. The NES DuckTales was a sensation, and this one, this PC original, with its strategy layers and its odd pacing, got lost in the noise. I didn't play this game back in the day, and I really wanted to like it, and to some extent I did. I think it's a game that lets you go through the right representation of the spirit of the show, with the adventure, the map, flying with the airplane that you can control for a short time before getting to the level. It's very repetitive though, especially the labyrinth maze kind of cave levels. It's really hard to understand what exactly you are supposed to do, and I didn't manage to actually go anywhere or win any turn. Even the platform sections are really difficult. It didn't help that I don't have a joystick, I just played with the keyboard, so the commands are quite obscure, not intuitive at all, and I didn't manage basically to do much with this game. Even if the musics are from the original shows, the style is great, the pixel art is amazing. So with the right commands and gameplay, I'm sure this game would be great and enjoyable. All the main characters are here, so you fly with the launchpad to get to the treasure location on the map. Then you use the three nephews, Huey, Dewey and Louie, in the jungle and mountain climbing, if you can manage to control them. Then there are what I mentioned, the labyrinth caves, navigating Scrooge and the nephew together through these top-down, kind of grid-like caves to avoid the mummies and find the hidden chests I didn't find. There's the photography safari where you control Webby to take pictures of rare animals to sell for cash. There's even a stock market where there's a pure management segment where Scrooge, you can buy and sell shares to multiply your wealth. I can't think of another example of a game for children or anyway young audience that has a stock market segment embedded into it. And then there's of course the money bin where you can dive as a Scrooge into the iconic money vault to search for rare $1000 coins. It covers pretty much all the atmosphere and mood of the cartoon. I wish that there was a remake of this game for modern platform or even just on Steam. It would be great for the DuckTales fan. Anyway, the packaging is amazing. What you get in the packaging is amazing as well. We'll see in the next game the amount of manuals and flyers and posters and attention to details that we were getting back in the day with these games, especially PC or Amiga games. It was really outstanding compared to what we get today. Sometimes not even the physical copy of the game, just the case and the code inside. Sherlock, the Riddle of the Crown Jewels. It's a famous 1987 interactive fiction text adventure published by Infocom, written by Bob Bates. It's a mystery set in Victorian London in the tradition of Conan Doyle. Look at the amazing packaging this game comes with. There's a newspaper, there's a map of London, so many details. Obviously Infocom always brought this amount of details and material as a part of the experience of the game. Everything that wasn't a digital artistic projection because it's just a text and your imagination, Infocom gave you as a tangible accessory to play it together. Here as well there's the big floppy and the small floppy. In this game, in this adventure, you deduce, investigate, reason your way through a case that involves theft, murder and more. Text adventures today are quite unfashionable, I know. They ask for something that most modern entertainment don't do anymore, so the use of active imagination, patience, willingness to read rather than watch and be told. But on a machine like this and in this context of adventures, Sherlock, this game feels exactly right. You are holding a pocket-sized Victorian mystery in your hands. The interface disappears, just you and Holmes and London rendered in ASCII. Infocom games were always more literature than games, and this is no exception. There's something about playing literature on the libretto, which literally means little book in Italian. I don't know if it's also the same in other languages, but I assume it's from the Italian word libro, libretto, so it's a match. In this adventure you play as Dr. Watson, and there's also the Sherlock's arch nemesis, the Professor Moriarty as well. Like most Infocom games, this is entirely text-based, so you interact with the world by typing natural English command, for example, open the vault, or ask for the password. And Sherlock lets you explore a massive Victorian London, between cabs or travels between real-world landmarks like the Big Ben, Madame Trousseau, the Tower of London. You encounter most of the classic characters of the Sherlock Holmes mythology, and it was originally released for MS-DOS, Apple II, Commodore 64, Amiga and Macintosh. Text adventures are really brutal and hard to play because you need to give command in a specific way, go north for instance, not upstairs or move left. So it's included an on-screen hint system to assist the players without though spoiling the entire plot. I used a walkthrough because I'm not used to play these games anymore and they are really hard. I guess today's with AI one could kind of easily replicate and actually ask AI to co-create a similar kind of textual based adventure. It's not the same though, this is from 1987. Again, great game by Infocom. Solar Winds Epic Mega Games from 1993. This is a space adventure with RPG elements and some shooter elements as well. You pilot a lone spacecraft through a universe of planets, alien civilizations and diplomatic choices. It was a shareware, so distributed freely as well, played by millions of kids back in the day on family computers in the early 90s, but for some reason it's quite obscure these days, or at least I don't hear about this game a lot. But I was one of those kids playing in 1993 on my older brother's computer. I had a particular relationship with this game that I never quite forgotten. Solar Winds had a problem, or what I thought it was a problem, so the universe felt really gigantic in the game. The distances between stars systems were quite large, and the ship, at least initially, moved very slowly, and I didn't know how to reach or explore the edges of this digital universe. I didn't know, and at some point in the game you get a speed or warped kind of drive to cross these distances in seconds. But I just saw as a kid a galaxy to explore and a ship that moved what it felt like a walking pace, and I thought I will just leave the computer running overnight, maybe it will get somewhere in the morning. And so I did. I left my brother's PC running through the night, the fan screen in the screen was off, and I tried to cover the LED lights with post-its, I remember, and the little ship moving very slowly through the dark, because I wanted to know what was out there. It was a real space adventure for me, what was on the other end of all that dark space. But my brother found out about it, so at the end the computer was switched off, so I don't remember. I don't know if I really got anywhere. But that's the scale of the game, and you feel that scale even encountering aliens and alien planets felt really adventurous. And these days, with the NASA's Artemis 2 mission that sent humans further than the previous record from the Apollo missions, I felt that urge of adventure once more. Solar Winds had these kinds of goal, these kinds of feeling. Design-wise, it wasn't a sophisticated game, but the gameplay was quite deep. You could choose multiple choices whether to follow person of another or an alien, or go down a different plot hole, and the exploration and curiosity. The game takes place in a far-off solar system, basically. Humanity and other species are trapped in their respective planetary system by giant invisible force fields generated by a race of superior aliens. You play as a Jake Stone, a cynical bounty hunter and smuggler hired by the government. Stone is originally hired to top a rebel group that has secretly spent a decade developing hyperdrive technology to break through the barrier. So as the game goes on, Stone uncovers the massive government alien conspiracy and switches aside to help the resistance. You advance the plot by talking with NCPs on planets and other ships, and the game features animated profile portraits for the characters you interact with. There are 2 episodes, the Escape and Galaxy or Universe. The Escape was the shareware episode that was widely distributed for free, and the Galaxy is the paid retail sequel where Stone works with aliens. I recommend this game. It was fun to play it again. I couldn't make the sound work, but I remember even back in the day in my brother's computer there was no sound, so it was the true experience for me. The Toshiba Libretto was never the most powerful machine. It was never the most practical either. If you noticed, I had some difficulties on writing on such a small keyboard, although it's very well made. It's quite comfortable for short sessions. Becomes quite difficult to game with it. It wasn't even the most successful ultra portable of its generation, but it was made with a quality of intention that you can still feel 30 years later when you hold it. It's really remarkable. About the 3 games I showed, DuckTales found a treasure that history forgot, Sherlock solved a mystery in a pocket, Solar Winds crossed the universe a few pixels at the time. And all of 3 reminded me that the best reason to explore is simply not knowing what's out there. Some games and some machines, devices, earn their place in a collection by being important or by being valuable. The libretto in these games earns it by being slightly impossible and truly adventurous. Let me know in the comments if you knew about the Toshiba Libretto, if you own one or owned one in the past, and if you played any of these 3 games. Thank you for watching, consider subscribing, visit retrofair.com for the articles I write together with the videos I make, and see you next time.
retrofair.com